Welcome back everybody, Barry Mumford here. Well, my images are all rubbish. Every one of them. Just rubbish, full of rubbish. I'm going to show you how I use it to create these backgrounds for this image. Right after this. So yes, this video I'm going to show you folks how I've used rubbish to create a really good, interesting background for my image. Now I spend a lot of time building dioramas just specifically to shoot these figures on, and it's becoming really time consuming. It's good fun but really time consuming, so you can't really produce much. So I wanted to try and create something where I can just use random objects from around the house, rubbish, anything I can get my hands on to create an interesting background, hopefully, and show you folks how easy it is to create an interesting image. So I'm going to walk through all the lighting gear that I used, and I'm going to show you a little bit of post-processing in Photoshop as well at the end of the video. Now, I must stress, I'm using all my gear is Pixapro gear. I've used that for a long time now. Love the gear. But if you guys have any other lights, you'll be able to recreate this scenario with what lights you have. So don't worry about the gear I'm using. I'm going to explain it all. I will put links in the description below so you can check out all the gear I've used in this video if you want to go ahead and check it out. Now the concept for this comes from just a sketch. Started drawing a little sketch, and then all of a sudden all these images just flood into my mind and all these ideas. Once you start getting to know your gear, your lighting gear, how to light stuff, how to use stuff, it becomes very easy to build an image just from a drawing. You know exactly how you're going to light it, what colours you're going to use where, so you can get a feel for it before it actually the final result, and which is great. It's all little building blocks, but it's great to start like that. So the more you do it, the easier it gets. So we'll start off with the set. I've just set up the Hanroku Trooper. Now this figure is from Green Wolf. I'll put a link in the description below so you can go and check out all their other figures they've got. Just phenomenally detailed figures, absolutely amazing. But I have customized this one. It doesn't come with this head, it comes with a helmet which is lying on the floor beside it. I have customized this one just for this image. So yeah, I've got him sitting on a box. But really it wasn't really about him. He looks cool anyway, so you can take a great photograph of him regardless. I wanted to create a background, a scene. So this is what I've done. I've set up all the rubbish either side of him, a couple of crates, cardboard crates either side to create like a bit of a wall. Now in the background I've got a couple of black sheets hanging from the background in between my main background and the subject, and then in between that background and the subject I've got loads of rubbish, empty bottles, cardboard boxes, just to try and give that little bit of depth to the image. But the main process of this is the lighting to make that work, because if I just take a picture of that, it just looks like I'm taking a picture of a figure surrounded by loads of rubbish, and we don't want to see that. So we need to light it specifically. So we'll start off with one main light, which was the Pixapro City 600. Now I have fitted to that a 7-inch reflector with a 20-degree grid. Grab one here. And what that does, see that? That just creates a nice little direct light source. I can control the light where it's falling, so it's not going to spray everywhere if I'm just having the reflector, because I wanted that fitted so it would just light up the figure itself. Really handy tools to have, and that was a 20 degrees, so that's a really tight focus light on the subject. Now I had fitted to that blue gel. I'm just using blue gels. You can get these anywhere. Loads of different colour gels. Now when I did set that light up, the light was just not focused enough, and I needed the snoot, my small snoot I have, I needed that for another light. So what I've done was I used just a random bit of cardboard, and I put that in between my subject and the light to create, so basically that would block the light off where I don't want it falling, and I would have the light hitting just the subject and not round on the floor in front of them, because I had ideas for that further down the line. So that was just using a simple gobo, just a little bit of black card, anything, just to stop that light from falling where you want it. Now I then moved on to the background light, because I wanted to see how that depth was working with all the rubbish in between. So this, I just used a simple 580 Mark II speed light. I'm saying simple, these are brilliant to have in your bag. But that's just sitting on the floor, pointing up. Again, that's got a blue gel on, and it's just lighting the background, just create a little strip in between the two sheets that have the black fabric I've got draped down. It's creating a strip in between them to kind of separate the figure from the background, so he's not falling into that darkness, and it's worked quite well, I thought. So the third light was the Pica 200. Now the Pica 200 I had fitted in, it's called the Hush H, it's called, what's that called? Is that focusing? H Pusher. Basically it's like a cheap man's light blaster, and what this is, you can stick a wide angle lens on the front of it. Okay, and then you can focus on that, fit lots of slides in there, or your speed light fits in there, and then what that is projected, that image is projected on a background, and I just projected an image over the front of my figure and on the cardboard running either side of him, and that was just to create those lines coming down his face, just to create a little bit more interest. Now I had that kind of facing directly at him, just above the camera, so that was coming face onto him, and that just created that little bit more of a look to it, as if there was light blasting through doors. The third light, I set up the hybrid 360 at the back of the image, and now I've just took a random studio head protector, plastic protector, and put that over the bulb. Now I wouldn't really highly recommend this because obviously the bulbs do get hot. It's not a constant light, so it's not too bad, it's just a burst of flash. And this actual plastic cap protection for the studio lights has got slots in and holes in, and when I'm firing that, it's just creating some little random lights coming out, which looks really nice. Now I've laid over that a red gel, which was really effective. Now the fourth light is the light that created the mood and the atmosphere really for me. I love doing this. I fitted the LED 100D Mark II with a snoot, really tight, small. I've used this before, really small snoot with a grid on. Now I fitted that with that because I wanted a nice small point light source so I can create some lovely light rays coming through the image and falling on my figure sitting in the middle of the image. Now to get the light rays exactly how I wanted, I've simply just cut some cardboard. Just cut some slots in a cardboard, and I've held that in front of the light, and those light rays have just beamed down onto the figure. Now how do you get those light rays beamed down? Well, we're using just a cheap, inexpensive smoke machine, and that is, I've got it marked down here, it is, yes, it's the Beams S500. It's a really cheap, inexpensive smoke machine. I'll put links to everything I've used in the description below so you can check those out. And now I'm just filling the room with smoke, and what that's doing is creating like a haze, and that light is just bouncing through it, creating all those lovely rays, and using that card with the slots in creates all those lovely rays too, and just makes a really cool look to the image, as if it's blasting through a broken shutter above or anything like that. So yeah, that was that, and then we used the smoke to create that atmosphere to produce this image. Now that image you're seeing is the image Souk, that's straight out of camera. That's exactly what was produced out of the camera. So now you've got to bear in mind that I shoot raw and I shoot in flat profile, but I need to add contrast, I need to add sharpen, saturation, I probably need to do a little bit of dodge and burning on places where I didn't quite get the light falling exactly where I wanted to, or wasn't quite possible. So I need to do them little touches up now in Photoshop. That's just the way it is. Unless I was shooting in JPEG or on film, that's how I shoot. I know I'm shooting raw, so I know after I've took the image and getting it exactly how I want it to in camera, I then need to do the little post-processing in Photoshop. So we're going to head into Photoshop now, and I'll show you exactly what I've done to the image. Shooting in a 50mm 1.8, we're shooting at ISO 100, 1/15th of a second shutter speed, and an aperture of 2.5. Now we're shooting at 1/15th of the second shutter speed to allow us to get those lovely light rays coming from the continuous LED lights, because you've got to bear in mind we're mixing LED and flash, firing the camera in rear curtain sync, and that's how we're able to capture those rays of light coming from the LED. A slower shutter speed because I want that smoke to be hazy and not wispy, and that also helps with that. So we'll open that into Photoshop now, and we'll do a little adjustment in Photoshop. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab my colour grade, and I'm going to add that to my image. Now this is a colour grade that I've came up with, which adds a lot of blues in the shadows and desaturates it. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to create a dodge and burn layer, and we'll do that by hitting Shift Command N on a Mac. We'll change the blending mode to overlay, and we will click the box for 50% grey, and that's going to give us a nice little dodge and burn layer where I can adjust the light and dark parts of the image. Just increase the lightness of those rays coming down, just to emphasize them a little bit more on the figure. And then we'll lighten up the cardboard where I've shot the projection from the Pica 200, which is creating those nice lines across the side of that cardboard at the side there. And next I'm going to highlight some of the armour. One of the main things you've got to remember when you're using smoke, and you've got your lights set up to the right power settings before you use the smoke, as soon as you incorporate the smoke in the scene, that's then going to decrease the power of the lights. Basically it's going to diffuse the light, so it's kind of a balance of getting the power setting just right with the smoke, which I don't know if you can see the overall effect that that's had on the image. So now the next step, I'm going to create a copy of all the layers below, and I'll do that on the Mac by holding the Shift, Alt, Command, J and E, and that creates a copy of all of those layers beneath. So now we're working on one solid layer, and I'm going to open this in a new bit of software that I've been using. I've been testing out On1 software, and there's On1 Raw and On1 Effects. So we're now in On1 software, and you can see this is the presets on the left hand side, and I tend to like using cold and crisp or crisp and cool. It's normally crisp and cool I like to use. So once I've done that, I can see the effect it's had. You can see it's sharpened up nicely, added a nice bit of contrast blue tones to it, and looks really nice. I like that. Takes away a lot of the green, still leaving some of it, but creating more of a blue tone to it. I don't want it to affect the whole image, so I am going to change the blending mode to luminosity, and then I'm going to add a mask, and I'm going to paint out where I don't want the effect to have an effect on my image. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new blank layer. I'm going to fill that blank layer with black paint. I'm going to grab my marquee tool, and I'm going to select a square area, and then I'm going to hit delete, and that takes away that black painted area, leaving some nice cinematic black bars top and bottom. So as you can see, there wasn't a great deal retouching done in Photoshop. There wasn't a massive amount at all. Most of it was caught on camera, and that's one of the most important things I was trying to get across with this tutorial or lighting walkthrough, is that it's all about the lighting. I cannot stress that enough. Obviously using the rubbish as a background, I mean, you can use anything. That was just an idea I had to show you folks how important the lighting actually is to creating these images. It's all great fun. It's as great fun creating a composite image, like I said earlier, but it's just as good fun creating it with just lighting itself and getting it as you can, the best you can in camera. And I think that looks really good. I think that looks really cool. I'm very happy with that. So there you go folks, that was it. That's the whole process, start to finish. As you can see, there wasn't a massive amount added to in post. You can go berserk in post-processing, add as much as you want, and I quite enjoy that. I love creating composite images. I love shooting separate backgrounds and shooting the subjects separately in the studio and then combine them both together in Photoshop. But this is just another way to create a really unique look, and I love doing both. We're so spoiled these days to be able to use those kind of techniques and create some stunning images. But there you go, that's been a full lighting tutorial folks on how I've lit this. I really hope you've enjoyed it. If you have found it useful folks, I really appreciate a thumbs up, and if you want to see more of these videos further down the line, which there will be, hit that subscribe button and flick that notification bell so you can see when each video is posted, and I'll see you folks in the next one. See you then. Just making me realise that I've just finished editing the full video and I realise I never switched my lights on. It's the little things.